Okay, well, if I'm going on a rant now, we got the Golden Globes to talk about. And I have this transition. I think it works for the GameStop news and also describes perfectly the Golden Globes. So this is the new sound drop for whenever we talk about the Golden Globes on the podcast.
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
Oh, Fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not real.
Right. All right.
Great way to describe the 78th Golden Globe nominations. They were announced this morning, live early in the morning, and they're going to take place on NBC on February 28th. They're going to be hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler on opposite coasts. They're going to be on opposite coasts hosting this ceremony later this month. There's a lot to unpack because they do movies, they do television. Some of these movies we all haven't seen together yet. But we're still going to hit on the main points tonight. We're going to start off with movies, and we're going to start off by saying how Mank led with 6 nominations, followed by The Trial of the Chicago 7 with 5. Now, both of these are up for Best Motion Picture Drama alongside The Father, Nomadland, and Promising Young Woman. I'll also throw in the comedies here as well, and we could talk about it as a whole. In the musical and comedy category, it gets a little weird. We have Borat subsequent movie film, Hamilton, music, Palm Springs, and The Prom. Okay, John, start me off. Initial thoughts.
I don't think I've seen enough of these movies to give you any thoughts. I mean, I'm looking at musical comedy. I've seen Palm Springs and Borat. That's it. You want me to choose between those two?
Yeah, which one?
Palm Springs, but not by much.
Okay. Well, and I know we've seen the Trial of the Chicago 7 for the podcast. I saw Mank. I did a quick check on that. But Kyle, initial thoughts on these films. Have you seen anything else?
As far as drama and musical comedy, well, yeah, I'm kind of in the same. I was kind of talking to you earlier about this. It's like the movie landscape to me this year. I have no idea what people are watching. I have no idea what to watch. The marketing for these things, I haven't seen anything. I'll just hear, oh, this movie's coming out Friday. And I'm like, okay, but am I supposed to watch it or is this thing going to suck? Because it feels like 50-50 on these things where it's like it's really bad or it's going to be okay. So your kind of review of Mank didn't make me want to watch it. The Trial of Chicago 7 was good, and Borat and Palm Springs, both good. I've heard bad things about The Prom. I don't even know what music is. And Hamilton, we have to discuss if it should even be there. So
Yeah, I was happy to see Borat 2 in Palm Springs. Love the Palm Springs love. I thought that could be forgotten, and I hope this kind of helps it later on in this award season. A lot of these films, they're on the list to talk about. Nomadland, it's coming out on Hulu. We're going to talk about it on the podcast. Let's see, Promising Young Woman, that's on my list. It's on VOD right now. But a lot of these films, it's like, wait, what? And I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to throw John off his game a little bit and bring up how there's this man, Scott Feinberg. He's a reporter for the Hollywood Reporter. He tracks and predicts awards. And he, tweeted today. First of all, I hate to say it, but I must. This morning's Golden Globe nominations are a complete and utter embarrassment. But he also tweeted, just when I was looking up, what is this film music? He tweeted, I've literally never heard of the movie for which Kate Hudson got a nom for. This guy's job is to track where the Oscar race is going, where the awards are going, seeing all the films, possibilities, long shots. He's never even heard of this film. And I looked it up. It's Sia's directorial debut. It's sitting at a cool 29% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. 29% fresh. It's more rotten, but okay. I guess put it on the list. Why not? There was so much outrage today. I feel like more than the usual in my feed. it's just how much of a joke the Hollywood Foreign Press is. I mean, we've talked about in the past of how it'll nominate films like The Tourist, which is a drama action film in the comedy category, just to get Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie there. And we're seeing it here. It's just, we have more people voting in our polls and brackets for Dual Redundancy that actually vote for these awards. So
yeah,
we have a better understanding, I think, of what should be recognized. But
and this is what I was saying to Dave before we got on the podcast. I'm like, how can we make it so that the Golden Globes stop being legitimized at all? It's just a bunch of people that want to have a party with a bunch of actors and actresses. I mean, how did this come about that it has any indication of anything?
Yeah. I just think it's the first one of the season. It's televised. A lot of these other awards bodies aren't televised, and they do the thing where they invite those A-list Angelina Jolie, Johnny Depp people. So then people will tune in for the ceremony and think they have to care because, oh, I got to see them win an award. But there's actually not some of the best performances. They're just using that star power in the television stuff to make it think this is important when really it doesn't matter.
And I mean, even more so now with the pandemic and no one going into a physical ballroom and like looking at all the it's like, why watch this? Why?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to talk about the musical comedy nominees, specifically Hamilton. We had Z Milan on Instagram comment to us when I asked about what are your thoughts on these, and he just said ... Hamilton ? Yeah, this one's interesting. I talked about it back in July when Disney Plus released it. It's a filmed recording of the Broadway musical Hamilton from a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Now, Hamilton was eligible here for picture and acting races. Lin-Manuel Miranda got one. The film obviously got one. Here, it's on the film side of the Globes, but it's going to be qualifying as a TV movie for the SAG Awards, the Screen Actors Guild, tomorrow. They're going to be announcing them tomorrow, so you'll see it maybe in the TV movie categories, but it won't be up for the Oscars. And it's been a whole debate just online. Should this film even be eligible? I know The Good, Bad, and Watchable had this whole thing when Nick Boyle made it his favorite film of the year. People were calling out, it's not a film. I will say, on my list of Letterboxd, it was one of the highest things I had on my Letterboxd, but I still don't know where I could put it. I mean, I guess it's a film, but not really. It's a tape.
We got to consult Steven Spielberg about what's a movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Get him on the show to legitimize it.
Yeah, Chris Nolan. Is this okay? What do I do? Because it's a taped version of the stage show. Sure, there's editing and directing involved, so it's not just like, oh, somebody put a camcorder up in the middle of the seats and just hit record. There's a lot more to it. But this performance already got Tonys. They got their Tony Awards.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, it's like, can we do the inverse now? Years later, can we take a film, Mank, put that on a Broadway theater screen, and then have the actors in front of the screen act it out? And then could that be up for Tonys? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more thinking of just like, what's to stop like another big production that's popular at the time from doing a similar thing? I mean, Hamilton was a sensation.
Yeah.
And I think it's an outlier, but
back in the day, Cats. Why not? Cats was the longest running Broadway show.
In fact, they did do a movie version because I watched it in my music class when I was in like 7th or 8th
you're actually
grade.
talking about a real version of that
one.
Yeah,
okay, not the recent one.
old one. But what's to stop another stage production from doing this? I mean,
well, what about something like Jersey Boys that was originally a play that became a movie? I mean, I guess it's not really the same thing, is it? Because they're not recording the show; they rewrote the script for a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, at least that was written for the screen, right?
I think it was rewritten for the screen.
Yeah. What we have with Hamilton is it was written for the stage, then put on television. right?
Yeah, on a streaming service. Now, is it a television show? Is it a movie? Like that's like, is it a podcast? I mean, what is it?
Yeah.
And you bring up kind of like the play aspect to it, because some of the snubs we saw today, that kind of leads into the snubs. I just watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It is a film, but it was adapted from a play, and it feels like a play in scenes because it's like there's very few sets. It's just a lot of monologues. They're in a enclosed space. So it's like, well, that is a film because it was adapted from a play. It's all very confusing. But anyways, some of the snobs, there was no big best picture love for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Judas and the Black Messiah, One Night in Miami. The latter I find a little strange because Regina King is one of the 5 directing nominated directors. The film got acting nom, it got a song nom. Clearly, it's well directed. Not one of the 10 best pictures though. It's like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Strange.
How can you have all these other elements that were so great but not the film?
Yeah.
One film that was completely shut out, Spike Lee's The Five Bloods, and I can't remember exactly where we fell on it in July. I think we all liked it. I don't think we loved it, but I thought I think we liked
fine.
it. But I think a lot of people can agree though, Delroy Lindo was a standout MVP performer in that. Chadwick Boseman obviously as a supporting player, and Spike Lee, whether it's his writing or directing, but zip, nada, goose egg for The Five Bloods, which is going to be kind of awkward because his children are those Golden Globe ambassadors this year. You know how they always have like the kids of a famous person be the ambassadors at the ceremony. Well, his kids are this year, and his dad got 0 nominations from them. So awkward. But but yeah, most of the films I mentioned are ensemble films with a lot of supporting players, and there was a surprise supporting player. I think no one had. Gold Derby, which is a site that kind of ranks all the different contenders and all the different categories and their chances. They had about 50 supporting players here, and they were missing the guy who got a nomination, the top 5 performances of the year, Jared Leto from The Little Things, which we'll talk about in a bit. Was there any surprises? Was that a surprise to you, Kyle? Were there any other surprises or snubs that you saw with the film side of things?
As far as film, I mean, again, it goes back to I haven't seen a lot of the films, especially for actress and especially on the actress side of things. But a lot of these movies I'm going to check out in the future once they become more available. But it's as far as Jared Leto goes, it's really hard for me to separate my hatred of Jared Leto from anything he does. I really do not like Jared Leto. Do I think his performance in The Little Things, which we'll talk about later, was anything special? No, I don't think so. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your feelings are on that.
Yeah, not to spoil my thoughts, from 20 minutes from now. I think Jared Leto was one of the better things in Little Things. I was intrigued by his performance. Top 5 performer of the year? I don't think so. As I mentioned, those were ensemble films. One Night in Miami. There's 4 actors right there that could get supporting noms.
Yeah.
Anyone in Hamilton, because for the supporting ones, they do musical and comedy and drama combined. So it's all those actors could be nominated in this category. So those guys could have been in it. There's the list goes on and on. So I don't know if it's the top 5 performance of the year. I don't think so, but I don't know. You got people being snubbed, and then you also have people becoming double and triple nominees at the Globes. Once they mint you as someone they love, you're in the club. You're in the club. Anna Taylor-Joy for The Queen's Gambit and Emma, the film. Olivia Colman got in for the film The Father and also for the series The Crown. And then Sacha Baron Cohen actually tied the record for most noms for a performer with 3. He got 2 for Borat as a producer and then also as a star. And then he got another in the supporting category for The Trial of the Chicago 7. And then in more of the tech side of things, in the same category, Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor got 2 nominations for score for Soul and Mank. So they're going to be battling each other in that same category, which will be quite interesting. But yeah, I'm going to run through one quick thing on the film side, then we can switch over to TV. I don't know if because I don't know much about it yet because I haven't seen the film, but there was a lot of hoopla maybe a month or two ago over the film Minari. This is an upcoming film. It's going to be an awards player for sure at the Oscars. There was a lot of Twitter uproar from the choice from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association to not allow the film to compete in the Best Picture categories. Instead, it's in the foreign language film category because it's primarily in Korean. However, from what I've seen, again, I haven't seen the film yet, it is a film about the American dream, set in America, starring an American, directed by an American, and produced by an American company. Just because the film, I guess, is primarily in Korean, it becomes a foreign language film. However, if you look at some of the past of the Golden Globes, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, they made Inglourious Bastards okay to be in that category. But from what I remember that film, only about 30% of that film is actually in English. Most of it's in German, French, Italian. The Artist was a French film, 100% French film with French actors, French production. It won musical and comedy, but it was a silent film. There was one line at the very end, spoiler, in English, but French film can be musical comedy. So it's very, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that logic there, especially when it's U.S. pretty much U.S. based across the board, except they're just speaking Korean. I mean, that's absurd to think about. I mean, there are people that live in America that can't, or that might not be able to speak English, but so I think it should just be in an American movie, U.S. made film.
Yeah, so we'll definitely say more when we actually see the film, and we haven't been able to see it yet, so we don't know for sure. But I wanted to bring that up when we're talking about film and the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move to television. I think we'll have a lot more to say in television here. The Crown led with 6 nominations, followed by Schitt's Creek with 5. Schitt's Creek is nominated alongside Emily in Paris, The Flight Attendant, The Great, and Ted Lasso in musical and comedy series. And then on the drama side, we have The Crown, Lovecraft Country, The Mandalorian, Ozark, and Ratched. All right. Any initial thoughts on these, John?
I don't think I saw any of the drama.
I think you might have seen Ratched.
I think I was thinking. I think I saw that.
And Lovecraft Country. I made you watch those.
I watched an episode. I don't know if I would count that as seeing it.
Okay.
I watched season 1 of Ozark. And then as far as television, just an episode or 2 of The Flight Attendant. So most of these 2 categories, I either haven't seen at all. I've only seen an episode or 2. At most, a season of Ozark. So I'm out. I don't have a horse in this race.
Yeah, I mean, by looking at this list, I mean, you could definitely tell that they love. Like I always say, they love new and shiny things. Look at the list: Emily in Paris, Flight Attendant, The Great, Ted Lasso, all first seasons. Lovecraft Country, Ratched, again, first season stuff. Like they love to mint new stuff here. Any thoughts on these 2 races, Kyle?
Some surprises. Surprised to see Ratched on there. I mean, you could say it was doing stuff with the production, but as far as the writing goes, I don't think it's doing anything special. Very similar to kind of that American Horror Story-esque situation. Ozark, I still have to catch up on season 3, but that's always kind of in the running. Lovecraft Country, if somebody explains it to me, maybe. I mean, I still haven't finished all the way through it because I was struggling with the fact that there's no cohesiveness to it. It just feels like different anthologies in a book. It didn't make any sense. The Crown is, I watched The Crown, very, very well done, focused on some different characters. and the direction and the production value is really good. Emily in Paris, that's going to be a no for me, dog. I think it's just popularity, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I know somebody who watched it, and even when they saw the nominees, they laughed. They're like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think the flight attendant.
It's popularity, I think, again. I think.
Yeah. I've heard good things about The Great, but I gotta assume Schitt's Creek is gonna win out on this.
Yeah, unless they like to do their new thing. Sometimes they really love the first season kind of minting something.
Yeah, that's true. And for me, I was a Ted Lasso fan. Maybe it was the pandemic, but I'm not saying it did anything revolutionary, but Jason Sudeikis is very good in it. It's very wholesome, and it's just charming. So I don't mind that so much, but a couple of those are puzzling for the comedy and the drama section.
Yeah, because there was quite a few that could be on this list. I mean, just even personal favorites of mine. I mean, Rami, Dave, What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got some Emmy love, but I guess they didn't get the Golden Globe love for their seasons.
I would put in I May Destroy You. That's
we'll talk about that.
One of the more solid ones for me as well.
Yeah. But they love certain people, and they love just anything that they make. They're just gonna award it. They love Ryan Murphy. They must love him here. I mean, they gave 3 for Ratched, 2 for The Prom. I looked up Rotten Tomato scores just to get a feel, because I wasn't a fan of Ratched. I know people that watched The Prom weren't fans of that. There's like a campaign right now, pretty much like James Corden does not deserve a nomination. So it's bad when people are like, oh man, it sucks, so-and-so didn't get nominated. But to be actively mad that someone got a nomination, that's a weird inverse. But but the Rotten Tomato scores like 62% for Ratched, 56% for The Prom. Okay, I guess, as you said, there might be something going for it. But then you have a show, and I'm gonna always stump for it. I know John will too. Better Call Saul. It got 4 Writers Guild nominations today. It got like 3 of their episodes out of 5 that were eligible in the category. 3 of them are from Saul. Not here in drama series. Bob Odenkirk did get a Golden Globe nom, but that's it. And you're telling me that it's not as good as Ratched or The Mandalorian or something like that? I find that hard to believe.
But does the Vince Gilligan team have the same clout that Ryan Murphy does?
No, I don't think.
Will he be more likely to do your, to engage in whatever kind of thing you want, the tabloid talk?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even when it was up for Golden Globes, Breaking Bad, I don't think it did that well. I feel like it took a while for them to even catch on to Golden Globes. I'm looking here. Yeah, Golden Globes, they only nominated it like 7 or 8 times, which, it got multiple Emmys, but it looked like it wasn't even nominated for series until the second to last, season 5A, and it only ever won in the final season for Bryan Cranston and for drama series. It had 2 wins out of like 6 or 7, which is kind of strange. But yeah, because they don't like to admit when they're wrong sometimes. They don't like to backtrack. They like to be in the beginning, and that's why I'm like surprised we don't get someone like Bridgerton. I really thought, I haven't seen Bridgerton, but it's hot, it's new, it's buzzy.
Yeah.
I mean, it came out, a month or 2 ago, but that didn't stop when Brooklyn Nine-Nine won 2 Golden Globes for comedy, 1 for comedy series after like 10 episodes of season 1. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but those first 9 or 10 episodes, come on, the best comedy on television at that point? I don't think so. So it's just, I found that was a strange one, but I think the biggest snub, which I want you to definitely bring up, Kyle. I've seen it everywhere. This is the one everyone's talking about today. I May Destroy You.
Yeah. So, I mentioned in our end of the year podcast that I thought it was one of the best shows I'd watched all year. Between delving into, this woman's trauma, but also her kind of working her way through it, and the comedic bits, the relationship between the characters, the unique writing style, uniqueness to the characters. I thought it was one of the best shows of the year, besides probably Normal People. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I can't believe it's not on this list somewhere. And if they loved Newbies, I would assume that this would be in there. But it's a shame.
I don't know if it was just too cult for them, that it was just too under the radar for them. I don't know, but you bring up Normal People as well. It's interesting here because we got an Emmys flip. At the Emmys, Paul Mescal, the male actor for Normal People, was nominated, but the female actress was not. Here, Paul is not nominated, but Daisy Edgar Jones is nominated for a Golden Globe. So we got a little bit of a switch.
Yeah, which is weird to me. And I will say this, I don't think you can have one without the other.
Yeah.
So if you think she's good enough, I think he has to be good enough, because those two work off each other the entire series, right?
Yeah.
Their whole relationship is that story.
50-50.
So how can one be? I mean, I don't. They both have scenes where you're like, yeah, I can see them winning an award for this. I just don't know how you can have one and not the other.
We'll see if the SAG Awards tomorrow. Sometimes they'll do the rare two people in the show can be up for ensemble. I remember they did it for Key and Peele one year. They were nominated for comedy series. So maybe Normal People can do that rare feat. But anything else for TV you want to talk about before we move into our film tonight? Anything jump out with you guys with television?
Just with the Don Cheadle. What has he done? What does he have over the Golden Globes? Does he have? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm glad that he gets nominated, but it's just.
Yeah, I want to look up. I want to look up, see if I can find up.
Because I feel like he went from whatever that show was with
House
Kristen Bell to like right into this next Showtime series, and it's like it doesn't matter what he was. It could be I poop on the toilet, and he was gonna get nominated. All right.
He's gotten 6 nominations so far, 2 wins. He got 3 for House of Lies, and now he's up again for Black Monday. So yeah, he's a favorite. They love their Showtime. I remember, who was it? William H. Macy always getting a nomination.
They do.
There's always one in that comedy slot. Even the one year when I'm not sure if William H. Macy was up, and they put in Sacha Baron Cohen for Who Is America. It's a Showtime a Showtime comedy slot. It's just they have that.
They got it in there. Category. They got it in there. I'm glad that the girl that played Princess Diana got nominated. I thought she did a really, really good job as well. So, just overall some questionable things about the TV. I don't. It just feels like a popularity contest, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's it for nominations. I'm sure we'll talk about the winners. They'll be announced February 28th on NBC. So we got about a month before we can react again to the Golden Globes.